got all that flack for doing that festival in Saudi Arabia. I don't think that festival would have been legitimate if I wasn't there.
Was it legitimate in general? I mean, Saudi Arabia paid a bunch of comedians obscene.
Then when he made $500 million, they said even though his contract said he should get half of it, they said he made too much for the contract.
You don't leave the He didn't say anything about any of these white boys. And none of these white boys function like that. Katt was talking about and did the other but not about anything.
Katt Williams just sparked one of the most controversial conversations in comedy history because he's now being linked to claims that Dave Chappelle may have completely changed or even destroyed the version of himself fans used to love. And the wild part? This isn't just random internet talk anymore. People are now looking at Dave's entire career shift. From the $50 million walkout legend to the modern comedian performing on global stages, facing backlash, and taking heat from even his closest peers. But here's where it gets messy. Because Katt Williams isn't just criticizing Dave, he once defended him harder than almost anybody in Hollywood. So the question everyone is now asking is simple. Did fame change Dave Chappelle? Or did the industry finally turn him into something he used to fight against? And once you see the timeline, you might not look at comedy the same way again. Let me break it down. Katt Williams just called out Dave Chappelle in a way nobody saw coming. And honestly, there was a time when Dave really was considered one of the boldest comedians alive. This is the same man who walked away from $50 million because he refused to play along. Back then, Dave aimed his comedy at the government, the elites, and anybody in power who deserved criticism.
Everybody wants to know, why'd you walk away from $50 million?
I wasn't walking away from the money.
Yeah.
I was walking away from the circumstances that were coming with the newfound plateau.
But somewhere along the way, something shifted. The Dave Chappelle who turned down that massive deal and disappeared to Africa never really seemed to come back. And what we got after that felt completely different. Now, nobody's saying he was cloned or anything crazy like that, but the energy definitely changed. These days, Dave looks more connected to the same system he once criticized. Instead of challenging power, people feel like he plays it safe now. A lot of fans say the newer specials barely get laughs anymore and feel more awkward than funny. It's like watching a completely different version of him. And the wildest part, he doesn't seem to recognize it at all. Now he comes off more like an untouchable celebrity who refuses to accept criticism.
U.S. intelligence did make it clear that they believe that the Saudis killed al-Khashoggi and the embassy in Turkey. And you knew that when you went, right?
Oh, absolutely. Now, I should tell you.
You had no qualms?
I won't say that. They asked me to go years before that, and I said no for that very reason. Since that time, the United States government does business with the Saudis. Netflix does business.
And on top of that, Dave has been taking shots at Katt Williams, the very same Katt who defended him when people in Hollywood turned against him. So what really happened to Dave? Did the industry finally get to him? And why is Katt saying Dave basically destroyed his own career?
That's why I can speak with impunity about the Illuminati, because I know who you would have to be in order for what I'm saying to bother you, number one.
Right.
Number two, I know you're big.
All right, let's take a step back for a moment because people often forget how different Dave Chappelle used to be in his earlier work. One of his most well-known sketches featured a character named Clayton Bigsby, a blind man raised in a racist belief system who, within the storyline, is unaware of his own true identity.
Clayton Bigsby, the author?
What, you don't think I can write them books? Just because I'm blind don't mean I'm dumb.
Then there was Black Bush. Dave mocked the US president during a time when joking about George W. Bush on television actually carried weight.
What about people who say you're only interested in the Middle East for oil?
What? Huh? Oil? Who said something about oil, bitch? You cooking? You win? You have a problem with that? You know what you should do? You should sanction me. Sanction me with your army. Oh, wait a minute. You don't have an army.
Dave Chappelle was the guy behind the racial draft, the player haters ball, and sketches that mixed race and politics with comedy in a way that actually made people think while they laughed. The old Dave didn't care about protecting powerful people. He went after everybody equally. And then he did something no comedian had ever done before. He walked away from $50 million right at the peak of his career. Just imagine that. $50 million. He left because he believed the industry was trying to paint him as crazy, and he refused to become a puppet for Hollywood executives.
I've been in show business since I was 14, and I've heard the stories of what happens, and I've seen these kinds of things play out in front of me.
Okay.
When
you say you heard the stories, what do you mean? What stories?
I mean, you see before, look, Mariah Carey made a $100 million deal, and 3 months later, she's all of a sudden mysteriously crazy. Or Martin Lawrence punches through and he's waving a gun on the street screaming, "They're trying to kill me."
Yeah, we hear those stories.
And it always happens around the time of their career where it seems as though they're crossing over.
And for years, Katt Williams defended that decision louder than almost anybody else. Katt constantly told people Dave did the right thing, that Hollywood tried to break him, and that Dave deserved respect for walking away. Katt even argued that Comedy Central actually owed Dave more than that original $50 million deal.
Chappelle was decapitated in front of us. They called him Pilot Boy because he had 19 pilots in Hollywood and everybody passed on him and said his show.
What do you think of
Then when he made $500 million, they said even though his contract said he should get half of it, they said he made too much for the contract to be valid, so we'll offer you 10% of what you made. You mean he made $500 million and they offered him 50? Yes. And he said, what do you think my fans are gonna say when they find out you offered me 10% of what I made you? And they said, your fans will believe that you're a crazy crackhead by the time you get home. And my nigga got on a flight in LA, and by the time he got to Ohio, it was so.
But here's where things get complicated. The Dave Chappelle people see in 2026 doesn't feel like that same person anymore. Not even close. Take the Riyadh Comedy Festival in September 2025, for example. Saudi Arabia hosted this huge comedy event funded by the government, but performers reportedly had to follow strict rules. No jokes disrespecting Saudi Arabia, the royal family, religion, or the country's leadership. And this is the same country critics accused of silencing journalists. But Dave didn't seem bothered by any of that. His response was basically, everybody does business with Saudi Arabia, so why shouldn't I? Then he suggested people were only criticizing him because he's a black comedian.
U.S. intelligence did make it clear that they believe that the Saudis killed Jamal Khashoggi and the embassy in Turkey. And you knew that when you went, right?
Oh, absolutely. Now, I should tell you.
You had no qualms?
I won't say that. They asked me to go years before that, and I said no for that very reason. Since that time, the United States government does business with the Saudis. Netflix does business with the Saudis. Everyone, the Saudis finance tons of movies. All these, I know, I see them financing boxing matches and all these things. And none of these things were an issue until I went there. Now, why is that? As soon as a black man can make money off the plantation, they're trying to tell you that the money is dirty. Well, okay, I'll go home and spend the money with actual slave owners.
But a lot of people felt that explanation didn't really hold up. Katt Williams didn't perform there, and nobody's calling him a sellout. Plus, Dave wasn't the only comedian getting heat over Saudi Arabia. White comedians like Pete Davidson and Bill Burr were criticized too. People called all of them hypocrites for taking Saudi money. Pete Davidson especially got dragged online because his father died during 9/11. So fans felt the situation looked even worse for him. But the Saudi controversy is only part of the conversation. Then there's the whole backlash surrounding Dave's Netflix specials. Critics argued the jokes about trans people weren't just controversial, they simply weren't funny. A lot of viewers said the material felt weak, forced, and uncomfortable rather than clever.
I ain't doing trans jokes no more. You know what I'm gonna do tonight? Tonight, I'm doing all handicap jokes. Well, they're not as organized as the gays.
Now, compare that to Katt Williams. When Katt talks about these topics, he frames it as criticism of larger systems, industry pressure, and manipulation behind the scenes. He focuses more on the people in power rather than targeting regular individuals directly.
20 years ago, I knew that transgenders was going to be a thing. I understood that the earliest I had seen that word transgender was Baphomet, the transgender. And so I knew that in the ritual of Baphomet, the transgender, to show allegiance to him, you had to kiss his ring.
Really?
And it said both of those things, so I knew that both of those things would become popular.
And that's what makes this whole situation so strange. Dave used to be the comedian exposing systems, governments, and powerful elites. That was his brand, but the newer version of Dave complains that audiences weaponize his jokes against him. He even admitted in interviews that he resents that reaction from people.
I did resent that the Republican Party ran on transgender jokes. You know, I felt like they were doing a weaponized version of what I was doing. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
This is before I learned the phrase, I respectfully decline. And I was on Capitol Hill, and everybody ran up to take pictures with me from every congressional office. And I just take pictures with whoever I asked. I didn't ask how they voted, what their voting record is. And then here comes Lauren Boebert. And she said, can I get a picture? And I'd already taken 40 pictures. I didn't want to say no in front of everybody. But I didn't know the phrase, I respectfully decline. So I just took the picture. And then she posted a picture before I could even get from there to the show and says something to the effect of, just two people that knew that it's just two genders. She instantly weaponized.
But critics argue that once you put jokes out into the world, people are naturally going to respond however they want. Dave also openly associated himself with powerful figures like Elon Musk, even bringing Elon on stage during a show. So people feel like you can't accept support from billionaires and then act shocked when audiences see your comedy as political.
Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for the richest man in the world. Cheers and booze, I see.
And according to many fans, Katt Williams noticed this shift years before everyone else did. But for a long time, Katt stayed quiet about it. He even praised Dave during his appearance on Shannon Sharp's Club Shay Shay podcast, calling Dave a king. Katt also claimed he personally turned down massive contracts because of certain conditions tied to them. He even referenced the Diddy situation while talking about protecting his integrity, and Dave didn't exactly return the favor. Not long after Katt's interview went viral, Dave responded during one of his stand-up performances. He accused Katt of mainly targeting black comedians and hinted that maybe Katt was projecting his own frustrations onto the industry.
He only eat the He didn't say anything about any of these white boys. And none of these white boys function like that. And Katt is one of the best haters in the game. Stop. And Katt hurt people, but I'm a hurt person that never hurt people. And he does it all the time. This one and that one and this one. But anything that you did wrong, you didn't do nothing wrong, I'm gonna bring a black guy. Katt did this to me. Katt was talking about that did to other but not about anything that he did to him. If I told my story, it would break your heart. I lost everything and never, ever told on anybody.
But supporters of Katt say Dave completely missed the bigger point. Katt argued that the real divide isn't about race at all. According to him, it's about values, principles, and deciding what's exposing the same entertainment industry Dave once escaped from back in 2005. Dave appeared to defend that same system instead, and that's when many people believe Katt realized something had fundamentally changed. In an interview with the New York Times, Katt even said, "Chappelle would never cross me." But eventually, he felt like Dave did exactly that. Katt respected Dave so deeply because he believed they stood for the same things. Now, the Diddy situation made things look even stranger to some fans. Right around the time Diddy was announced for the BET Lifetime Achievement Award, reports showed Dave and Diddy out having dinner together, and according to reports, this happened before Cassie officially filed her lawsuit. Photos showed both of them smiling and leaving together afterward. Dave later joked about Diddy during stand-up sets, but critics noticed he never seriously condemned Diddy or the culture surrounding him. He even thanked Diddy publicly at one point for supporting him after Dave was attacked on stage during a comedy show. Then things got even more awkward when Dave joked about visiting Diddy's house and made comments involving Cassie that many viewers felt crossed the line.
Okay, look, it's not that I think Puff is right, but when I got attacked in LA at the Hollywood Bowl, people forget Puff was the guy that tackled my attacker. He saved my life. So hard to be mad at after that. I had security that night, you know what I mean? They wasn't ready. Them had some slippery shoes on or something, they ran out. All them slipped and fell. And Puffy got my attacker and tackled him. And then years later, when I heard about that baby oil, I was like, what did those slip on? I've been to Puffy's house. No, I didn't see none of the stuff they said. I didn't know that was my big chance to Cassie.
But for many longtime fans, the biggest issue isn't even that Dave's newer jokes feel distasteful. They genuinely believe he's no longer funny the way he used to be. People say Dave got too comfortable. Now he's hanging around billionaires, performing for Saudi royalty, buying up large parts of his hometown in Ohio, and making comments that critics interpreted as dismissive toward affordable housing concerns.
When we tell you that black capitalism isn't concerned with liberation but is only asking for a seat at the table of the oppressor, here we have ex-genius corrupted by power Dave Chappelle letting his class interests speak louder than his race, threatening to remove the investment of his company in his hometown if they went ahead with their plan to build social housing.
Hi, I'm Dave Chappelle. I just want to say, I don't know why the village council would be afraid of litigation from a $24 million a year company while they out the $65 million a year company. I cannot believe you would make me audition for you. You look like clowns. I am not bumping. I will take it all off the table. That's all. Thank you.
When you're a classist, in a society where class is so largely determined by race, then you end up being racist too.
And that's why some fans see such a huge contradiction. In 2005, Dave walked away from what he described as a toxic Hollywood machine, but by 2026, critics believe he became part of another powerful system himself. And the saddest part to them is that Dave may not even recognize the irony anymore. But now, I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think happened to Dave Chappelle? Did fame slowly change him? Did he sell out? Or is there more going on behind the scenes than people realize? Drop your thoughts in the comments and stay tuned for the next video.